What's up, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Monty Python. And we're going back to the final rip-off compilation. One of the sketches remaining. I don't think there's all that many. There's a few songs left on here. And again, I have Monty Python Sings recently put onto my music computer along with all the other recent additions, or semi-recent. There was like several months ago now, but I did add 4 albums to the Monty Python collection, so eventually we'll start going through more stuff that I'm not familiar with, but yeah, ultimately one of the remaining sketches on the final ripoff is Crocodiles, or I think it says Crocodile. And yeah, this is a ridiculous sketch. It takes the idea of an athletic broadcast and applies it to something absurd, which they've done before with novel writing. That's one of my favorite. This goes a different direction. Instead of having the idea of a completely mundane and slow developing activity that just isn't conducive to the breathless commentary of sports, this takes a lethal and indeed like suicidal game, but then covers it as if it's a normal type of sport where, you know, certain types of preparation are necessary and people have different techniques or different philosophies about how to play the game and so on. But it's about how best to be eaten by a crocodile, and it suggests there's international competitions where the national teams of different countries, again, have different approaches to like how they can get one of their members eaten by a crocodile most quickly. So again, it pretends that this is a normal thing and that all these different countries and athletes do it. Although, of course, there's a sort of breaking of that silliness moment where the interviewer asks one of the guys, does it ever concern you that you're actually going to be eaten by a bloody crocodile? So I enjoy the fact that it sort of runs away from like normalcy and sanity, but then comes back to get like a punchline joke near the end. So yeah, let's check it out. This is Monty Python Crocodile, heard here as part of the Monty Python Final Ripoff compilation.
Right now it's time for athletics, and over to Brian Goebbels in Paris.
Hello, well, you join us here in Paris just a few minutes before the start of today's big event, the final of the men's being eaten by a crocodile event. I'm standing now by the crocodile pit.
Well, I'm afraid we've lost Brian Goebbels, so while they're sorting that out, we have a report from Barry Loathsome in Loughborough on the British preparations for this most important event. Here at Loughborough are the 5 young men chosen last week to be eaten by a crocodile for Britain this summer. Obviously, the most important part of the event is the opening 60-yard sprint towards the crocs, and 22-year-old Nottingham schoolteacher Gavin Warrilow is rated by some pundits not only the fastest but also the tastiest British morsel since Barry Gordon got a bronze at Helsinki. In charge of the team is Sergeant Major Harold Duke.
No, you've not only got to get in that pit first, you've got to get eaten first. When you land in front of your cook and he opens his mouth, I want to see you right in there. Rub your head up against his taste buds, and when those teeth are in your flesh, use the purchase to thrust yourself down his throat.
Duke's trained every British team since 1928, and it's his blend of gymnastic know-how, reptilian expertise and culinary skill that's turned many an unappetizing novice into a crocodilic banquet.
Well, our chefs have been experimenting for many years to find a sauce most likely to tempt the crocodile. In the past, we've concentrated on a fish-based velouté sauce, but this year we're reverting to a simple béarnaise.
The British team are worried because Olympic regulations allow only the competitors' heads to be sauced. Kevin Warrilow.
Yes, well, I mean, you know, 4 years ago everyone knew the Italians were coating the insides of their legs with bolognese. The Russians have been marinating themselves. One of the Germans, Biolek, was actually caught putting remoulade down his shorts. And the Finns were using tomato-flavoured running shoes. I think it should either be unrestricted garnishing or a single Olympic standard mayonnaise.
Gavin, does it ever worry you that you're actually going to be chewed up by a bloody great crocodile?
The only thing that worries me, Jim, is being the first one down that gully.
Well, the way things are going here at Loughborough, it looks as though Britain could easily pick up a place in the first 700. But nothing's predictable in this tough, harsh, highly competitive world where today's champion is tomorrow's crocodile shit. And back to you in the studio, Norman.
Thank you, Sheila. Very exciting activity there. A lot of people being eaten to death in Loughborough.
I did forget the today's champion is tomorrow's Crocodile uh, droppings. Yeah, that was funnier than I remembered. And again, the idea that different countries are like cheating, by putting sauces in different places or stuffing, spices and so on down their shorts. I really do enjoy the insanity of it because again, the way like everybody's talking about this is like, oh right, the way in which we butter someone up in order for them to be eaten by an animal, and to do it quickly enough that we can win the gold. It's just silly, and I love the way it comes around at the end with a bit of like, oh, and by the way, doesn't that scare you that you're going to be eaten by a crocodile and then dropped out later? So yeah, another hilarious one. Again, there's a few, I think maybe just like a couple sketches left on Final Ripoff. We'll go through some of the songs, and then eventually we'll set out into more of the stuff that I'm not familiar with, but which I now have access to. So let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.